Well, good afternoon to everybody. And let me just start the recording. And I'm Rob Howard, and I want to welcome you to today's weekend webinar. Can everybody hear me okay? Yes, good. Okay, great. Well, I want to thank everybody for being here. Those of you who can, if you could, in right below my picture, you'll see 3 bars, and if you could change your name, edit your name, give us your full name and the country that you're from, so we can get an idea where everybody's coming from. And we're recording. Today is September 2nd, 2018, and I want to welcome you to our sneak preview for our upcoming IATEFL BSIG annual conference in Iași, Romania. And we've got an exciting lineup today of speakers. So welcome. We're going to explore the frontiers, and we've got 10 of our speakers were gracious enough to come and tell you a little bit about how they're going to explore the frontier. And this is just to get you interested. They have 5 minutes to talk, and finished or not, we're going to move on to the next. So we want to thank you for being here. If you haven't registered yet, we hope you'll sign up soon for Iași. Just go to our website, bsig.iatefl.org, and all the information that you need on the conference will be there. And you can sign up and register, and we really hope to see you there. So, what we're going to do is we're going to get started, and we'll bring up our first speaker. And Bob, okay, Bob, if you could turn on your camera, share your camera and your microphone.
Hi, is that
Hi.
audible?
You're audible. Now let's get you visual.
Okay, sorry. Am I visual?
Now you're visual. Very good. Thanks so much for being here, Bob. I appreciate you doing this. And we're going to give you 5 minutes. Let me introduce you first. For those of you who don't know, Bob Dignan is going to talk about From Language to Leadership, why we need to be teaching fierce conversations in the EFL classroom. And Bob is the director of York Associates and has been involved in business English teaching for over 20 years. So Bob, thanks. And without further ado, I'll switch off and give you control. Take it away.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Rob. Yes, so welcome everybody. Thank you very much for joining me for these 5 minutes. I mean, the objective of these 5 minutes is to give you an insight into the purpose and scope of the presentation which I'll be making in Romania, and hopefully as a kind of pitch, make it clear that I think this is a really relevant topic for business English teachers, and actually that the presentation itself will be very useful, very materials driven, kind of quite hands-on. I mean, the title itself, From Language to Leadership, is a terminology York Associates has been playing with for many years as an organization, because we have this kind of deep belief that as an industry, we really need to evolve. We need to grow and encompass new areas of communication beyond classical language training. And I think particularly there are many areas of leadership training and management training which can sit within the ELT classroom. And in many ways, that's not necessarily new. This is something that we've been pushing for many, many years. And if you look at our website and you see our value proposition for language training, you'll see very clearly we talk about 4 dimensions of ELT. There's the core of language at the base, professional communication skills, intercultural skills, but those are all driving towards a kind of pinnacle are international collaboration skills, which we feel is the real focus of what we should be doing, enabling people to communicate meaningfully in English, to build relationships, to influence people, to solve problems together, to give feedback at the end of the day, to do business well in a corporate environment. And I think that's understood within the business English community. Possibly what limits its deeper rollouts are two factors. I think confidence, perhaps leadership and management have certain mystical elements about them. And I think it's important to demystify what we mean by leadership and to make clear it's very much something we can engage with. I think the other major blocker is probably materials. Many ELT course books still don't engage with leadership and management topics sufficiently. And I want to take a case study in the presentation in Romania, a case study of an actual management seminar which I run for one of my corporate clients, and walk you through that, walk you through the actual materials, the logic of the seminar, and really show this is really doable. It's not a million miles away from what we're actually doing under other terms. And hopefully after that presentation, people will go away and actually have a set of concrete activities and reference points to talk meaningfully about broader aspects of communication training. The model that I'll talk about in Romania is something called Fierce Conversation. It's also the title of a book by Susan Scott, who was a CEO, an American CEO of many organizations, and her experience of leading led her to write a book about communication, quite a fundamental book. She goes back to some core principles. Why do we communicate? What is a conversation? And after having laid those stones, those foundation blocks, she then goes on to look at ways in which individuals in large organizations can run problem-solving meetings. They can run coaching conversations which empower and inspire performance in others. They can have confrontation conversations, which is essentially about feedback. And strangely, but very fundamentally, delegation conversations, because delegation allows you to win time. It allows you to say, no, that's not my activity, and it allows you to step into other core activities. And as communication practitioners, if we're not enabling people to gain time, they won't actually have effective conversations. Just to give you a little flavor, Susan Scott is a great user of smart sentences which inspire us. This is one of them. While no conversation is guaranteed to change the trajectory of a career, a company, a relationship, or a life, any conversation can. She pushes very hard that every conversation is an opportunity, a moment to connect and to drive results. And again, we'll engage with this philosophy more deeply in the seminar. She also has this very interesting statement: a fierce conversation is a conversation in which we come out from behind ourselves into the conversation and make it real. That's the idea that we need to become brave and courageous to have purposeful conversations. And through those principles, what she then does is tell you how to run team meetings, how to coach effectively, how to give feedback effectively, and how to delegate. It's a practical session. You're going to come along and get fierce with me. I hope to see lots of you there.
Nice. 1 second to go, just like you predicted.
Okay,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much, Bob. And we'll see you in Yash. Looking
Looking
forward
forward
to
to
it.
it. See you there, yeah.
Okay. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Okay, and next up, we're going to bring in Catherine for our next talk. And Catherine Latini is going to talk about communicating across borders. She's the owner of Bespoken, a business language company, since 2013. And Catherine, if you can just turn on your camera and unmute your microphone. And she also teaches French and German. Now she's also a certified ORSC coach. And I won't say what today is. You can mention it. But Catherine, thanks so much for being here. And
thanks for having me.
I'll let you take it away.
Great.
Go.
Okay. I'm generally kind of bad with slides, so if I forget to change them, let me know. So hello, my name is Catherine Leitney. I am the founder and language coach at Bespoken, which is, as Rob mentioned, a business language service provider based in Berlin. The frontier that I will be exploring at the BSIG conference in Yash in November is the new world of language coaching, developing the international identity. So, as a certified ORSC coach, my talk will look at ways of incorporating coaching methods into English training in order to provide a holistic learning experience where the emotional and existential realities of speaking English as the lingua franca are taken into consideration and deployed to enhance the learner's confidence and success in speaking English. The opening gambit of the talk is that authentic self expression is the basis for best practice in business communication. And I close with a question to the audience. What is the role of the business English trainer in ethical global communication? The first question I address, oh, slide time. There we go. That was the first slide that I didn't show you. And here comes the second slide that we're talking about now. So the first question that I address is, what is authentic communication? And the short answer that I flesh out in my talk is the truthful representation of your thoughts or feelings in language. What's particularly interesting is that, as we know from sociolinguistic theory, every time we speak, we are producing and reproducing our identity. Now, authentic communication, as personal as it may be, is nonetheless culturally coded. When I speak, I'm not only using language, I'm also using a plethora of cultural references. Communicating authentically, therefore, has a double challenge when it's done in a foreign language, when we are unmoored from our frame of cultural reference. Not only are we unsure about the cultural signs in the foreign territory, we also lack the cultural signs we rely on to make ourselves understood and known. It can almost feel as if we are lost at sea. In our increasingly globalized existence, we need various tools besides the English language to find our bearings in the international setting. To increase our sense of well being and confidence, it is useful to develop qualities and competences that make us international, that make us global citizens at ease speaking English anywhere in the world. This is where coaching methods are key. So ORSC stands for Organization and Relationship Systems Coaching and focuses on pair or group dynamics. Since communication is always at least a two-way street, it is a very appropriate school of coaching for enhancing communication skills. So in my talk, I will introduce coaching techniques that have, at least for starters, two aims. One addresses the learner's relationship to learning English, um, rather to the English language itself, using a variety of multimedia techniques such as movement, gestures, drawing, storyteller, or even singing. We reveal, understand, and work with the learner's relationship to learning English and how we can personalize the process so that it targets his or her or the group's learning needs. The other aim of the coaching techniques explores what it means to be international and what qualities are needed to be at ease more or less anywhere in the world. On one hand, these are the staples of intercultural training. When in a foreign culture, speaking a foreign language, we need to exercise patience, openness, curiosity, and attentiveness. So, coaching allows space for those qualities to emerge. But I would like to go deeper and allow participants to explore what individual qualities in themselves contribute to their international identity. These qualities may need to be called forth and honed, but I believe through this process of exploration, we can help learners become international on their own terms. As I said earlier, communication is a two-way street. Successful communication is not only about expressing yourself authentically, it is also about enabling the person or people you are speaking with to express themselves authentically. Knowing the challenges that we all face when speaking a foreign language, do business English trainers have a responsibility to make their students not only good speakers, but good listeners as well? This is the question I close with. That, I think, is at the heart of authentic and ethical communication. That's it for me. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing you in Yash in November. That's it.
Great. Thanks, Catherine, and we'll see you in Yash.
Yeah,
Appreciate it so much.
thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.
And we shall move on to our next speaker. And it's Elena Brand. Elena, if you
Hello.
could. Hello. Unfortunately, we're having some technical problems with Elena's camera, so
Yeah.
we will just imagine her. Okay,
Yes, I will be mysterious today, and we
yes,
will meet in Yash, apparently.
that's it. Yes, if you want to see what Elena looks like speaking, come to Yash. Good idea. Okay, and Elena's going to talk about staging course design in ESP. And Elena is a Delta qualified teacher trainer and mentor who's been teaching ESP for the last 12 years. And thanks again, Elena, and I'll let you take it away.
All right, thank you very much. Well, the initial idea of this presentation came from actually the feedback I get from teachers around me, especially those who have to make the jump from teaching general English to business English or other sort of English for specific purposes. Now, they find it a little bit demanding if of course they've never done it before, and they don't actually see the rewards that they can get now. And the main objectives of my presentation might be first of all, making this difference between aspects concerning general English and English for specific purposes. Because when we deal with these learners, we must have very clear objectives and goals for our course. We need to make sure our learners are responsible, and we also need to take into account the fact that, for instance, they don't have extra time or free time to invest in this learning process. For instance, if you give them homework, we all know they probably won't do it. Now, but then there are some other questions which might occur, such as, okay, how do they realize they have progressed, or how can they measure their progress, which actually exists? And this is why we will go through the specific areas of needs analysis and diagnostic testing. We will see how and when and which are the materials we will use when creating needs analysis and when designing the diagnostic testing based on these needs analysis. Then we will continue the discussion about syllabus design. Okay, so these are the learners, these are their needs, this is what they want to achieve. But okay, what can I give them? And here we will work on a case study. This is actually something I have already implemented and I have the results, but together I want to create another needs analysis questionnaire, another diagnostic testing, another selection of syllabus, and so on and so forth. We will also discuss about the types of materials. How can we work with authentic materials, or do they actually need authentic materials in class? We will see they do, but can we downgrade or upgrade these materials according to their needs? And then we move further into action plan, and why not your personal action research with these learners. Now, the main let's say problem, or the main thing we also need to consider, is their attitude towards the learning process. Now, you can give them all sorts of nice and correctly, let's say, arranged materials, but you need to consider the learners. You need to be aware of their styles and types of activities they enjoy doing together, and of course the time they need to invest in having their personal and let's say successful progress. So for more details, hope to see you in Yash, and we will work there together on how to create your next course. Thank you so much, everybody. Okay.
And that's great. Thank you so much, Elena. And we'll see you in Yash.
Yes, for sure.
Great. Okay. Now, next up, actually, we're doing great on time. Next up, okay, let me get ahead. There we go. Next up, we go to Ellen Keats. And Ellen, if you could turn on your camera, share your camera, and unmute your
Yes,
microphone. We
I
hear you,
have.
but we
Can you?
don't see you yet.
All right.
And Ellen's going to talk about Across Frontiers, 7 ideas to motivate students. And Ellen teaches business English. She focuses on innovation in education, the role of the teacher, and on student motivation. And Ellen, thank you for being here. And you have control of the slides, and take it away. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Rob, for having me. Let me start by introducing myself. I'm Ellen Keats. I've been a business English teacher trainer uh, and trainer in the Netherlands for many years now. And in the course of my teaching career, I've gathered a lot of practical know-how about teaching and training, which I would like to share with you at Yash. Now, the focus of my professional interest lies with innovation in education and the future of language training, in the role of the teacher or the trainer in the learning process, and it lies with enhancing student motivation. And that will be my topic at the BSIG conference in November. So student motivation across frontiers. Across frontiers, because in my experience, what motivates my Dutch students at home usually also motivates my international students and students abroad. Now, over the past year, I have interviewed many of my learners about what motivates them, and I got surprisingly similar reactions from them, whether they were young or mature students, because I teach them from the ages of 17 to, say, 60 or 65. Now, they tell me, for instance, how important an inspiring teacher or trainer is. And they carry on then to give examples of what these inspiring teachers do to make them so inspiring. And it turns out that teachers can have an enormous impact on their lives, on the lives of the students. They tell me that they enjoy being in an energetic learning community where they have a sense of belonging. And they say that working with authentic materials is important, that they love learning through real life assignments, and that learning is made interesting through placing the topic in a wider context. So, well, these are just a few of the things that they said, and it simply gives you an idea of students' reactions. Well, this is what the presentation will be about. So, about community and engagement, how motivating a learning community can be. And it will be about students taking responsibility of their own learning process, and about developing intercultural skills, and the importance of fun and games. What they always love is this. I hope you can see it. is the answer buzzers. It says ages 4+, but also my adult students love this, which can be used in class when we have a quiz or something. And they can press their answer buzzers like this. Anyway, my talk will be highly interactive, and as I'm hoping you will all participate and add to the outcome by sharing your best practice with us all, it will be a very, very practical session. You will take away tips and ideas that you can put into practice straight away. So do come and join. You're more than welcome. So thank you.
That's great. Thanks, Ellen. And I have to get one of those toys. I love sound effects in my.
Oh, yes, they're lovely. My students love them.
Great. Okay, well, I'll see you soon in Yash. Thank you again.
See you.
Okay, bye now. And next up, we have Helen Strong. Well, Helen's going to talk to us today about teaching one-to-one. And Helen Strong is a business English trainer and teacher trainer based in Germany. And she is currently the BSIG events coordinator. So, thank you, and I'll let you start, Helen.
Thanks very much, Rob. Yeah. Okay. Hi, everybody. So the frontier that I would like to explore, or what I intend to explore in Yash, is the area of helping teachers to become better one-to-one learners. So my frontier isn't actually one-to-one teaching as such, because there's nothing new about one-to-one teaching. I imagine that's been going on time. But in my 20 years experience of business English training, I've seen very little progress in training covering one-to-one learning scenarios. I remember when I first started training 20 years ago, I started at Audi, a car company. And I knew how to, I was fresh out of CELTA, and I had been taught how to teach groups. And so I was familiar with that, but then I was told, yeah, go into the one-to-one situation. It's exactly the same. Just find out what the learner wants, but I've realized over the years that there's actually more to that one-to-one. Now, I know there are a couple of books on the market on one-to-one, on how to teach one-to-one, and I'll be recommending those in my workshop. But other than an elective module, Delta, for example, I'm not aware of any teacher training courses which are dedicated to the topic of teaching one-to-one. Now, I'm a teacher trainer myself. I'm a CELTA tutor and Cert IBET trainer. So I decided to do something about this unexplored frontier and this gap in the market, and I developed a teacher training course on teaching one-to-one to help my colleagues, my fellow business English teachers, and basically become more confident in themselves and the services they're providing to their clients. So how I'm going to explore this frontier is by addressing these questions in my workshop. So groups. Oh, you sound is very weak again. Oh no, I'm having a problem here. Is this better? My mouth is very close to the mic. Keep talking, right? Okay, so better now. Great. Okay, thank you, thank you. All right. Yeah. So what I'm going to explore them this frontier by addressing these 5 questions in my talk. How is one-to-one teaching different from groups? How can you do a thorough needs analysis? Where can you get your teaching materials? Which techniques work best? And how can you effectively give feedback to your one-to-one students? And in particular with the last one, I'll be sharing a method that I use for actually coaching my one-to-one learners and giving feedback. My workshop is going to be very interactive. I'll be asking participants to share their own ideas before giving my suggestions as to how I deal with these various issues. One word that I want to say at the end is this is a commercial presentation, as I'd love for you to join me on the teacher training course that I developed, as I think it's a very good course. We've had fantastic feedback so far. But there's no obligation for participants to do that. You should get a lot out of the workshop anyway, whether you're new to one-to-one teaching or you're a seasoned expert looking for ideas and inspiration. So I'm looking forward to seeing you at my talk in Yash on Sunday, the 18th of November from 11:15 to 12:15. And yeah, I apologize for the sound. I hope I was able to come across okay in the end. Rob, how was that?
Yeah, that was great. We had a little trouble with the sound in the beginning, but
I apologize for that.
yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, we'll try it again later on, and if we have the same problem, I'll make the announcements.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks so much, Helen. And we'll see you in Yash. And next up, we move on to Jasmina Sazdowska. You see, I concentrated so much on the last name, I mess up the first one.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, well,
And that's not even my full name.
You know, thank you for not giving me all of it, okay? Jasmina is going to talk about business English versus business teacher requirements. And yes, I'm not even going to try the other names. Can you say the other names who are presenting with you, please?
Yep, there will be three of us at the presentation. Myself, Jasmina Sazdowska, and by the way, the full name is Jasmina Żywko-Simonovska Sazdowska, if you'd really like a mouthful. And there will be also Zuzana Szoproni, Zuzia for short, and Gabriela Lengyel. There will be three of us presenting there.
Great. And they teach communications, law, business, and accounting at the International Business School in Budapest. So
that's right. We all teach in Budapest.
Great. So I will let you take it away. Thank you.
Thank you. And here I am. Okay. So just an introduction. As you can see, there will be three of us presenting, so three for the price of one. Myself, Jasmina Sazdowska, Zuzana Szoproni, my colleague, and Gabriela Lengyel. I am the head of the English department at the International Business School in Budapest. My PhD is on business presentations, and I concentrate on communication skills. Zuzana Szoproni is head of our English testing system, and she specializes in business English. And Gabriela Lengyel is our teacher who specializes in finance and law, and she teaches in English. So the International Business School, where we all teach, is a branch of the University of Buckingham. We have bachelor's, master's, and PhDs in business and management. So this is our focus in general. What I will be talking about, and we together, the three of us will be talking about in Yash, is the profile of the different teachers. So you can see here in the Venn diagram, we'd like to see the similarities and the differences between business English teachers and teachers of business who teach in English. So working together with Gabriela, who teaches finance and law, Zsuzsa and I wondered what we can have in common and what our differences are. We will be looking at several factors that influence that, and the way we will do it is through a questionnaire. So what we would like to do is design a questionnaire, and we've already actually had it online for quite some time. We've presented at the main IATEFL the differences between native and non-native speakers. I've just posted the questionnaire, so if you'd like to participate and actually have your results in the questionnaire, please log on and fill it in. And then perhaps you can see your own results in Yash. But we've used the same questionnaire for several different purposes. Before, we looked at differences between native and non-native teachers of English, and we also looked at general English and business English teachers. This time we will be giving the questionnaire out to both business English teachers and teachers of business in English. So this one that you have at the moment is for business English teachers, appropriate for those of you in BSIG, and Gabriela will be sending out a separate questionnaire to her colleagues who teach finance, management and business at several universities around Europe, and then we will be comparing the results between the two groups of teachers. Factors that we will be looking at are education, what type of education and background are needed for the two different types of teachers. The teaching experience, both in terms of length, how many years, and also in terms of the types of experience, whether at work or teaching and so on. We will be looking at language skills and how important proficiency is. This was also looked at in the native and non-native teachers survey, which proved that proficiency was considered by most teachers to be much more important than actually being a native speaker. We will look at the setting, whether you teach at companies or at university or at high school or one-to-one privately. And we will also be looking at association membership, which should be probably interesting for IATEFL BSIG. So this is what I wanted to talk to you about today. And if you would like to participate in the survey, please follow the link. And if you would like to see the results of the survey and compare yourself to business teachers, please do come along, and we'll be seeing you, all three of us, in Yash. Thanks for having me, Rob.
Thanks for doing this, and I'm looking forward to seeing all three of you there. So,
okay, bye-bye.
Bye now. Great. And as we move on, next up, we will be going to Kasia Warszinska, and she's going to talk about BE Games. She is a business English trainer, teacher trainer from Krakow, Poland, and has also taught in Russia and the UK, and she helps teachers work smarter, not harder. And in Wrocław, you're going to help me with my Polish, aren't you?
Of course.
Great. All right. Well, thanks for being here, and I'll let you take it away. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. So hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you, Rob, for inviting me. Actually, I forgot that I already sent you my bio, and I don't really know what to say about myself anymore because you said basically everything. But I'm going to do it anyway, and I have to start my stopwatch so I don't exceed the time, as you said. Okay, so hello, everyone. My name is Kasia Warszyńska. I'm a business English language trainer and a general English trainer and a teacher trainer from Poland. As Rob said, I've taught English in Russia, and I've taught English to immigrants and English people in the UK. I have signature trainings that I travel with around Poland. Basically, I focus on creativity and how to teach grammar creatively and how to teach Lexis creatively. Now, during one of my trainings, one person actually called me Grammar Tarantino. And to be honest, I'm really proud of such a nickname. Maybe in Iasi I can explain exactly what it means. But right now I'm going to tell you about my session. So basically, we're going to focus on Lexis and how to help our students retain Lexis, how to practice it, how to teach business English functional language. With my students, it's quite difficult, especially with higher level students. They tend to stick to their own vocabulary. They're not very, well, they're not very happy to kind of expand their vocabulary range. And basically, I'm going to show you how to make the learning engaging through games, the element of competition, and setting common goals. Now, as Ellen Keats already said, games are very important, and I do agree with it. Even if we teach corporate clients, even if they are top management or middle management, everybody loves playing games because games are fun, and what is fun is more pleasurable, and learning is it happens much faster when we're having fun, right? So basically, what is it going to be? It's going to be the new face of the classic bingo game. I assume that most of us know what bingo is. It's a traditional kind of gambling game, I would say. Well, my approach to the game is completely different. It's something completely new. If we think about bingo in the educational sense, originally it was very teacher-centered, quite boring, like after 5 minutes of an activity everybody's sleeping. In my case, it's something completely different. It's uncharted territory for many, but actually everyday practice for me, because I've been developing this technique, this method for the past year, and this is something that I created. This is something that I'm extremely proud of, let's say. And it's different. It's different because it's student-centered, and it's equally beneficial to all students in the group or pair. So everybody's listening to each other. There's a lot of speaking. And what is very important for us, teachers and trainers, is the fact that you have very, 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 very little prep time. So it takes like 5 or 10 minutes to create a bingo sheet. There are web pages that allow you to do it for free. And basically, it makes our lives as teachers much, much easier. So basically, the new face of the classic bingo game, right? So in my session, basically, if you come, or should I say, when you come, you're going to find out how to help your students learn functional language, so business functional language, or basically any kind of Lexis, because what we can put in the board in the bingo game can be basically anything. So it could be full phrases that the students need to use. It could be individual items. It could be some sort of vocabulary range from one specific topic. And all of it is based on a classic bingo board. And even though the students are not exactly playing bingo, even though the principle of the game is the same, they're having fun, and there's a lot of competition. So if you come to my session, it's going to be a workshop. So all of you are going to test the games. You're going to experience them. You're going to become the student. You're going to comment on them. You're going to tell me what you think about them. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to create them in less than 5 or 10 minutes. So this is something new. I've been researching the market, and I haven't found anything like this so far. And it works because I've been testing it. My students know what it is, and I bring it very often to class. And I have around 20 games based around this bingo principle. Although it won't be possible to share our 20 with you in the session, but I'll try my best to give you the most of it. So yes, so please come to my session. Now I have to check when exactly it is. I'm finishing, Rob. Yes, I'm finishing. It's Saturday at 11:15 till 12:15. So please come. You'll have fun. You'll play some bingo. You won't win any money because we're not gambling, but it's definitely going to be worthwhile. So thank you so much. Thank you, Rob, for having me.
Great, and thanks so much. And I'll see you. Actually, I'll see you in a couple of weeks in Wrocław.
Ooh, okay.
Yep, and then I'll see you in Iasi.
Excellent. Okay, excellent. Great, great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Great, and next up we have Rachel Appleby. And Rachel.
Hi, can you hear me? Can you see me?
I can hear you, not see you yet. Make sure you hit share video. And
Okay. Thank you for the
Rachel,
reminder.
there we go.
Okay.
Rachel will be talking about personalized input, minimum prep, and maximum impact. And Rachel is a teacher, excuse me, and teacher trainer and co-author of various OUP materials, including Business One and International Express and Business Result. And Rachel, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And let you take it away.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so slide one. You may have noticed that today we've been presenting in alphabetical order, but alphabetical order by our name, the name we use on a sort of in class, if you like. Which reminds me of when I was at school, that we used to have to do things in alphabetical order according to surname, and that used to totally freak me out because I nearly always had to go first. So today I've had a look at what else is going on, which is really nice. And I've also been very impressed with how Rob has made a real effort to get everyone's names right, pronounced correctly, because your name matters. Everyone has their own name, you own it, and it really matters. Somebody once called me Rebecca, which was close, but you know, it's not me. My name isn't Rebecca. So I think that's really important. And that really is my first step, if you like, for personalizing input in the classroom, getting students' names right from day one in the classroom. So, and in Iasi, BSIC in November, I'm going to focus on making lessons personalized, on teaching the students, not teaching the book, but focusing on their needs, their circumstances, and their interests, and also making sure that the students leave on a positive note, that they feel good about themselves because you've taken an interest. But before we move on, I just want to find out a little bit about who we've got here. I know some names, but there are a lot of names I don't know. I'd like you to think about a class that you like, a class you're teaching now or that you've taught recently, and I'd like you to write in the chat box what it is you like about that class. I'll give you a few seconds. So something you like about one of the classes you teach. Okay, so Yasmina says because they're international, that's always fun. There's always room for communication if it's international. Lots of energy from Roy, thank you. Open to suggestions, that's nice, Alan. Your students are fun and interesting, not just your classes, I'm sure, but the students too. That's nice, Helen, thank you. Aha, positive relationship, I think that's really important. Thanks, Bob. Yeah, they're Ava, yeah, they're interested, great. Ambitious, Kasha, you're lucky, that sounds nice. And they like learning. Gosh, there's lots of lovely things coming up. More positive energy from Nasira, thank you, and a positive community, lots of, great, okay, this is fantastic, good, thank you very much. I've got some classes like this as well, and certainly some students, that's really nice. And I think it really helps teach, you know, obviously you've got students and classes you like. So wanting to learn something new, Elena, thank you very much. Okay, so back to my basic talk. When planning my talk, I was really struck by the theme, exploring frontiers, because this for me refers to going further, moving out of our own comfort zone, trying something new. And in that way, we can develop more and we avoid burnout. And this can apply not just to us and our approaches, but actually what we ask. So how am I going to do this in Iasi, and also keep prep to a minimum, teacher prep to a minimum, because this is one of my promises? Well, the first thing I'm going to look at is crossing bridges. This is a metaphor I'm using. You can see the other four things I'm going to be doing, and the pictures might help you guess how I'm going to talk about these in Iasi. But if it's still a little bit abstract, let me give you an example. So I'm going to show you an activity that I do in a first class with all sorts of different students. This is taken from a group I was teaching in Budapest back in July. Let me show you how the activity works. I'll give you a couple of seconds to read it. So the students are talking to each other. They're finding out information, something about their work life and something about their personal life. And you can see when they feed back, open class, I've got a piece of paper with their names on, and I write down little bits of information. So I write down one or two things about their professional lives and then about their personal lives. And then you'll see on the left-hand side, I've got some little drawings, and this helps me remember who is who, because otherwise I'm going to forget. But this means that by the end of the first class, the first 90 minutes, I know something about my students, and they've got something to talk about with each other. They know that too. One of the biggest challenges was that these students wouldn't stop talking, but that was great for the coffee break. So if you join me in November, I will tell you lots more about some of the activities I do. There's no rocket science. They're very simple. They're easy to do. They require minimum prep, but I hope they also have a significant and positive impact on students' learning, and that for my students, they have a very enjoyable experience. I'll look forward to seeing you on the Friday morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rachel. I was dying to come on and say thanks, Rebecca, but no, I wouldn't do that. Thank you, and we'll see you in Yash, okay?
Okay, thanks very much.
Okay. And moving on, we go to Roy. And, well, we're bringing Roy up. Roy, if you could share your video and unmute your mic. And Roy Becknell is going to talk about the duets. And Roy works in Amsterdam as a business English trainer and teacher trainer. Roy also leads the BSIG editorial team. And Roy, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Can you hear me
Oh,
okay?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
We can't see you yet.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Click on the camera and then
Yeah.
start sharing. Great, there you are. Ah, nice shirt,
Okay,
by the way. Okay.
Thank you.
Good to have you here, Roy, and I'll let
Yeah.
you take it away.
Right, thanks. I see that we're getting close to the end of the session, and so I'll try and keep that under the 5 minutes. I'll be speaking on Friday morning, 11:15, and there's some other very good speakers in the same slot. And I'll be speaking about mixed ability learning and looking at classroom pair work. Now, I've been a trainer in business English and teacher training for the past 20 years, and looking at various aspects of work in the classroom. So if we talk about exploring frontiers, it's not only about pushing barriers and going outside, but actually zooming in on the actual work that we do and how we interact with our students. So one of the things that I've been looking at in the last couple of years is how do we handle mixed ability, and what kind of activities can we set up for that. Which brings me to the theme, why the duets? Now, last year, early 2017, I was at a concert in Amsterdam. I'm based in the Netherlands, by the way. And there was this wonderful performance of the duetti of Luciano Berio, a famous Italian composer. And the whole idea behind these duetti or duets was it was a cycle of duets of violin players, but of different abilities. There were very young, inexperienced players playing together with professional musicians as well. And they were all contributing to make this wonderful music. And it was just a kind of revelation for me to actually see in practice on stage something which is very tangible, very audible, and actually see this wonderful, wonderful music and hear that, and actually see these less experienced or less able players play together with very experienced players. Now, this brought me to the idea of why not try and make a cycle like this as well, but then having a look at a particular kind of activity within the classroom, and that's your peer activities, and actually purposefully set up activities that focus on this and put students of different abilities together. So on Friday, I'll be looking at some duets. It'll be a workshop. We'll be practicing them and trying them out and experimenting with them. I've already written about some of these. I've written about 4 duets. They've appeared in the spring and summer issues of editions of Business Issues, in which I look at aspects of creativity and look at their autonomy, look at aspects of lexical issues and grammar issues. Now this is one that I'm working on at the moment, and it's called Tense to Tense, and it's just to give you an idea of what the duet could be like. And this is about exploring, that the students explore patterns and notice patterns. So this is about tense to tense. It's almost like a musical transposition. Instead of going from, let's say, C major to B flat, I will actually set up the activity. The idea of the activity is to go from tense to tense. So we put the two together, and we actually I ask them to actually work on present perfect, present perfect simple, and present perfect continuous. And they actually have to transpose or transfer from one to the other. And in that way, we actually, they have to look at what structures, what kind of context works with these different tenses. So they get used to switching from tense to tense, and we actually have a look at, yeah, I'll bring my flugel. I saw that from Bob. I'll bring my flugel as well. I've got it here. They will actually ask to they review together how they're using the tenses, and the higher ability student can actually also explain the functionality to the lower ability student. Just going quickly. I hope that, otherwise I might run out of time. Yeah, Rob?
You're out of time.
I'm out of time,
You're
so you have to stop.
Yes.
Oh,
So
yeah, okay.
if you want to know more about what Roy's going to talk about, you have to come to Yash, and I'll be there too.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Roy, thanks so much. See you in Yash.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Bye now. And next up, let's see. Okay, so next up, we're not getting the video stream again, are we? Okay.
I can see myself in the window, maybe.
Yeah. Let me see if it'll switch when I mute my camera. Okay, good. All right, so here, we'll do it without seeing me. And let me introduce you. I'm working on the name. We have Uta Franza Vaschke, and she's going to talk about a map is not the territory, and she's a freelance business English trainer, one-to-one and team coaching, working in the corporate world, facilitating change through conversations. And thank you so much, and I'll let you get started.
Okay, thank you, Rob. Yeah, facilitating change through conversations with a focus I'd like to add on neuroscience that is behind the conversations and the human side of change. And we've heard wonderful workshop descriptions today, so it's going to be a really exciting time in Yash. I can see that coming. And this workshop that I will be talking about today is mainly about you and a little bit about your clients. And when you see the first slide here, when I read the title, Exploring the Frontiers of Business English, I thought immediately of Alfred Korzybski's quote, a map is not the territory, which refers to his theory that there is no such thing as one reality, and that reality is created by our brain's responses through perception and through language. And as you can see from the two maps that I'm showing here, it's the same place, it's just a different view. Once it's the normal view, the other shows the satellite view, and there could be now a 3D view. So however we look at things, it depends on our perspective, what we see, and how we filter the information that we get. And the business English frontier that I will explore in the workshop in Yash is how your view of your role as a business English trainer has changed or has been expanded over time. And today we already heard Bob and Helen talking about coaching approaches. And this is where we also want to experience a little bit what it means being coached. What is a coaching approach? We will also take a look at which frontiers you have already crossed. When was that? What have you made cross that frontier? And what was the impact? And which frontiers will you have to cross in the future? And how can you best equip yourself for those upcoming changes and thresholds? So how are we going to do that? It's going to be a highly interactive workshop. We'll be working in small groups or in pairs, depending on how many of you are coming to my session. And we will be discussing the questions that you just saw that I showed you on the previous slide. And we'll be taking a look at the different perspectives. And very likely there will be many different stories that you are going to exchange in your mini groups. And by the end of the 60-minute workshop, you will have gained more clarity about individual frontiers that you already crossed and what you took away from crossing those in terms of learning and how this learning can help you going forward. You will also have more clarity about the frontiers you are currently facing as business English trainers, and more importantly, the ones that you see coming up in the future. And by having this first awareness, you can start to develop your personal roadmap on how to best prepare for the future and hence expand and prepare for moving beyond yet another frontier. And if there is still time at the end of the workshop, I would also be happy to share a bit more about my personal journey and how I have arrived at the point where I'm now and which frontiers I personally see still ahead of me and which ones I would like to explore going forward. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you in Yash on Saturday morning in session slot F at 11:15 in boardroom B. See you in Romania. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Ute.
You're welcome.
Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Great. So this is the end of our sneak peek webinar, and we are eternally grateful to all our presenters who have found the time to be with us here today, and to all our attendees who have probably had more opportunities to make their choices and prepare for the conference in Yash, for their conscientious choice with the session. So thanks again, everyone. And we have a couple of quick announcements. Next week, there is an interesting event from Geld Biscomsec in Tokyo. And BSIC is preparing a simulcast of several sessions. So please look out for the announcements on our website and our social media. In October, we are preparing a session for you with Pete Rutherford, Teaching English for Human Resources. And there's already a plan for December event, so stay tuned for more details. And we are also looking out for participants for our webinars in 2019. So if you have any idea and you want to write a blog post for us or present next year, please send your submissions to the email address on the screen. And we also invite you to join our monthly Facebook discussions. And for sure, we are looking forward to welcoming you in Yash on the 16th to 18th November. And we won't be taking any more of your time. Thanks again for being here with us, and have a great end to the weekend and a lovely week ahead. Bye-bye.